Someone very close to you has been shaping your future without you even realizing it. Not through force, not through obvious actions, but through quiet influence that has slowly surrounded your confidence, your peace, and your direction. Before you dismiss these words, think about the changes you've noticed lately. Have you questioned yourself more than usual? Have you felt your excitement disappear the moment you shared your dreams with certain people? Have opportunities seemed to lose their spark after specific conversations? These moments are easy to ignore because they never arrive with loud warnings. They appear as ordinary interactions, ordinary smiles, ordinary opinions. But not every voice around you is helping you become who you were meant to be. Some voices plant doubt so subtly that months pass before you realize your courage has faded. Tonight, that hidden pattern deserves your attention. Don't skip. This is not about accusing someone or living in fear. It is about recognizing the difference between influence that strengthens you and influence that quietly weakens your spirit. There is one truth that most people discover far too late: the greatest obstacles are often disguised as comfort, familiarity, or constant advice. You may already know exactly who comes to mind, but before you decide anything, there is a detail you have not noticed yet, and that single detail changes everything. Think back to the moments when you felt genuinely inspired. Picture the dreams that once filled your heart with excitement. Now ask yourself one question. What usually happened immediately afterward? Did someone remind you of every possible reason you might fail? Did someone laugh it off as unrealistic? Did they wrap discouragement inside words that sounded caring? The most powerful influence is rarely obvious. It doesn't announce itself. It slowly replaces confidence with hesitation, hope with uncertainty, and bold decisions with endless waiting. Over time, you begin believing those thoughts belong to you when, in reality, they were planted through repeated conversations and subtle expectations. This is why wisdom matters more than suspicion. A healthy relationship challenges you to grow. An unhealthy influence quietly convinces you to shrink. That difference can determine the direction of years of your life. But here is the surprising revelation: sometimes the person creating this pattern doesn't even realize they are doing it. Fear can spread from one heart to another. Negativity can become a habit instead of a choice. Unresolved disappointment often causes people to expect the worst for everyone around them. That is why the answer is not anger. The answer is clarity. Once clarity arrives, confusion begins to disappear. Suddenly, you understand why certain conversations always leave you emotionally exhausted. Suddenly, you recognize why your peace returns the moment you step away from constant negativity. Yet the biggest discovery is still ahead, because there is one unmistakable sign that reveals whether someone's influence belongs in your future, and once you recognize it, you will never overlook it again. Now imagine waking up tomorrow with complete confidence about who deserves access to your dreams and who does not. Imagine no longer needing approval from voices that consistently fill your mind with fear instead of faith, discouragement instead of possibility, doubt instead of determination. That kind of freedom begins with one simple decision: paying attention to the fruit of every influence in your life. After spending time with someone, do you feel stronger or smaller? More hopeful or more discouraged? More peaceful or more anxious? The answers reveal far more than appearances ever could. The people who truly care about your future will not demand perfection from you. They will encourage growth. They will celebrate your progress instead of quietly competing with it. They will tell you difficult truths when necessary, but those truths will guide you toward wisdom rather than leave you trapped in fear. Stay till the end, because the next part uncovers the final piece of this puzzle, the unexpected reason certain influences seem so convincing in the first place. Once you understand that hidden principle, you will be able to protect your peace, recognize genuine encouragement, and move forward with a confidence that no quiet negativity can steal. Something huge is waiting for you, and it begins the moment you learn to recognize the voices that lift your future instead of limiting it. The reason this has been so difficult to recognize is because the strongest distractions rarely arrive wearing the face of an enemy. They often arrive with familiar smiles, comforting words, and years of shared memories. That is why so many people spend months, or even years, wondering why their confidence keeps disappearing without ever discovering the real source. But tonight, another layer is being uncovered. Think about the conversations that leave you questioning yourself long after they end. Think about the moments when you were excited to share good news, only to walk away feeling uncertain instead. Those moments are never as small as they appear. Every repeated word has the power to shape the direction of your thinking. Every repeated opinion slowly becomes a belief if it is never challenged. The person closest to you may not always realize the impact of their words, but that does not make the impact any less real. This is why wisdom requires you to observe patterns instead of isolated moments. One difficult conversation means very little. A repeated pattern tells an entirely different story. The greatest turning points in life begin when you stop ignoring patterns that your heart has quietly noticed for a long time. Suddenly, things that once felt confusing begin making perfect sense. The unexpected criticism. The subtle discouragement. The strange discomfort you felt without being able to explain why. They were never random. They were clues inviting you to protect your peace before your confidence slowly disappeared. Now comes the revelation that changes everything. Not every person who speaks negatively is trying to harm your future. Some are simply speaking from the limits of their own experiences. Someone who has lived with disappointment may unintentionally expect disappointment everywhere. Someone who has stopped believing in their own dreams may struggle to celebrate yours. That realization changes your response completely. Instead of reacting with anger, you respond with discernment. Instead of carrying resentment, you begin setting healthy boundaries. And boundaries are not walls built from bitterness, they are doors that allow encouragement to enter while keeping unnecessary discouragement outside. Imagine how different your life becomes when every important decision is guided by peace instead of pressure. Imagine sharing your dreams only with people who water them instead of constantly questioning whether they can grow. Imagine waking up without the heavy burden of seeking approval from voices that have never truly understood your purpose. That kind of freedom cannot be purchased. It begins with one courageous choice, deciding that your future deserves to be protected. If this message is opening your eyes in a new way, take a moment to like this video, subscribe for more messages like this, and share it with someone who may need this encouragement tonight. I'd also love to know in the comments which part of this message spoke to you the most, because your insight could become the answer someone else has been praying to hear. But don't think the story ends here, because the most surprising discovery is still ahead. There is one final sign that reveals whether a relationship is helping your future or quietly holding it back, and almost nobody notices it until it's too late. Watch what happens when your life begins to move forward. The people who genuinely want the best for you become joyful when you grow, even if your success looks different from theirs. They encourage your progress without making you feel guilty for changing. They remind you of your strengths when you begin doubting yourself. They celebrate your victories without turning the moment back to themselves. Those are the voices worth protecting. Those are the relationships worth investing in. The opposite pattern is much quieter. Growth makes some people uncomfortable because it reminds them of opportunities they never pursued. Without realizing it, they may pull others back toward the place where everything feels familiar. That is why the next season of your life requires more than courage, it requires clarity. You are being invited to recognize every influence by its fruit rather than by appearances alone. And once you learn that lesson, your decisions become stronger, your peace becomes deeper, and your direction becomes clearer than ever before. In the next part, one hidden principle will connect every confusing relationship, every delayed opportunity, and every unexpected setback into a single truth that has been waiting to transform the way you see your future forever.